We'll start a round of 5-minute questions. As you know, back in April, I highlighted in a letter to you long delays that New Jerseyans and Americans were facing to renew their passports, and encouraging to work to bring their time frame down. But some of my constituents have been shocked to learn that they still have to wait at least 3 months to get their passport renewed. So what news can you give us and Americans across the country who may be watching this hearing about the status of how long it's going to take to process a passport? Could you put your microphone back on, please?
Thank you for the reminder, and thank you for the question. I appreciate the opportunity to address it. We're working very hard on all fronts to meet what is absolutely unprecedented demand. Last year, we issued a record 22 million passport books and cards, and this year we're on track to exceed that record, maybe by as much as 15%. So as a result, processing times for passports are longer than we would like. We work very hard and in coordination with your staffs, for which we're very grateful, to publicize these times widely to help travelers plan to make their travel plans. I can talk a little bit about what we're doing to manage this demand. Obviously, our hardworking passport teams are on the front lines of this issue at our 29 agencies and centers. They are working tens of thousands of overtime hours, 170,000 just since the beginning of the year. We're also aggressively hiring to augment the team. We've increased our staff by 10% this year, and we have about 10% more in the pipeline. We have teams of volunteers from across the department working on surge teams, including retirees, adjudicators who have retired, and volunteers from our own headquarters staff, as well as new officers who adjudicate passports before they head out to their assignments.
So how long is the backlog now?
It takes about 10 to 13 weeks for us for regular processing time for a passport.
When would you expect to have it cleared up?
The 10 to 13 weeks is an accurate representation of what it is taking us now to process passports. We don't anticipate raising that this year at all. Passport demand tends to be seasonal. I'm reluctant to make predictions because this year's
So do you have a backlog?
What we have is passports waiting to be adjudicated. The processing time is a result of truly unprecedented demand.
So you're saying that after the pandemic, the backlog that got created by that and all that, that's cleared. It's just that the regular normal time for processing a passport is 13 weeks?
I can explain, if you don't mind, I can contextualize a little bit that question, and it has to do a little bit with staffing, and it is not unrelated to the pandemic. When the pandemic hit and we lost 50% of our revenue overnight, thanks to appropriations, we didn't have to fire people, but we did have to freeze positions. And so our passport adjudicators were working in person, and during that time period, they worked in person all through the pandemic, but as you know, not everybody is able to do that, and our staff contracted during that period. So when passport demand came back, and we were able to start hiring people, we were working from a deficit. So really what we're dealing with is in pent-up demand from the pandemic. When travel returned in late 2021, people were ready to travel again. And our staff, it takes just a while to hire them, it takes a while to bring them on, and we also needed to wait for passport revenue to come back before we even had the funds to hire them. So we're 10% up this year. And we have 10% in the pipeline now.
I appreciate all that, but I think you failed to understand my question. Is the answer to this question that it is now going to take 13 weeks on average to expect to get your passport processed? Yes or no?
Into the future, we do not intend for that to be the permanent wait time. You'll see in
the future is very,
unpredictable.
infinite. So the future being in 2 months, in 6 months, in a year? I'm trying, from my perspective, my role here is not to be adversarial, but I also need to understand in order to help. And I don't quite get from your answer what it is that is necessary. It is not, let me take this position. It's not acceptable to wait 13 weeks or 3 months for a United States citizen to get a passport. So we have to do better. The question is, what is it that we need in order to do better? If that's additional staffing, if that's additional resources, I don't know what it is, but I'm trying to glean that from you. I got everything you said. I appreciate the past. I appreciate the backlog. I appreciate the pandemic consequences. But that doesn't tell me how we're going to stop 13 weeks being the norm, and in what time frame we can do that. So I have a lot of questions, but I'm going to turn to my colleagues. One is, what do you need to bring that 13 weeks dramatically down? And two, assuming you get that, how long will it take to bring it down?
So thank you for clarifying your question, Senator. What you will see in our 2023 ops plan and also our FY24 budget is requests for more staffing. So that's one thing that is one way that we're going to address it. We don't want to go into the future trying to hire and overtime our way out of these challenges. I mentioned the increase in percentage of Americans who have passports because we don't see this as an anomaly, we see this as a trend. The way that we would like to address it into the future is by bringing on more staff so we can handle this, and also investing in our technology, in modernizing our processes.
But is the request in the budget, assuming it's granted, going to now significantly reduce the wait time? What do you think is the right wait time for an American to wait for a passport?
Senator, I agree with you that our wait times right now are too long. I would have to check.
Is the budget request going to ultimately help you reduce that significantly?
Over the long term, we anticipate that this is a trend that we're going to have to address. And it will, if we can hire the people that we need to address these long-term challenges and improve our technology.
I'll come back to you. Senator Risch.
Thank you.